what the difference is between design and decorating a little bit, what you should think of the free interior design services offered at local stores, and how do you actually figure out how to even start. So here come some ideas. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Shareen. I'm an interior designer here in New York City, and today is the day we are going to talk green, for real. Today's the first day that we're going to discuss budget. A lot of my clients have no idea how much they actually want to spend on their project, and one of the things that I do is after we have our initial consultation, I send them a budget. I give them a better and best option of ranges because this is what I do. I spend time shopping and sourcing things online, so I know the prices, but they don't. So in this video, I'm going to help you figure out how to plan a budget for an interior design project. And in this case, we are going to use my daughter's homeschooling space because back to school is next week and we have to get ready for that. So let's do it together. The space we're going to use today is my daughter's bedroom. We are going to design a homeschooling space because it is relevant and back to school is happening. So for those of you that are going through the same thing that I am going through and trying to figure out how to educate your child at home, here we go. So ideally you'd want to get a space that is not in the bedroom. You want something that's dedicated for them to be able to focus on their studies and not be distracted by any of their toys or distracted by the fact that they do naps in there or sleep time in there, depending on their ages, of course. However, like I said, I live in New York City. So my daughter's space is in her bedroom, and we're going to talk about exactly how I can incorporate a learning space in her room. I've decided to just go onto a random website and click through and do a little test. Hop over to a website where you like to shop and add the made items for your space into the cart. Once you have that number, go ahead and double it. I'll tell you why in a moment. So generally when you're starting a design project, you may have been working with a few pieces that already exist. I always encourage my clients to use what they have. It's really important that we lay things out and figure out what we can use before we go out and start buying new things. We're gonna come up with a budget, a realistic budget for just redoing this part of the space. And in full transparency, her room is not finished. Design doesn't happen in a week, even though my videos happen each week. So I'm gonna show you where it is now and we'll talk about the plans and the mood board for the future. Let's get into how to figure out this budget. We'll do it together. The first thing in trying to figure out what to do with the design project is determine exactly how much you want to spend. My clients ask me all the time, they have no idea what things cost, and there's two levels, there's two parts to that budget, and there's a lot of other questions like, should I use the free service that's out there at the store that I'm shopping in? Or should I hire a designer? And how much should I spend on this bookcase? And what kind of quality am I getting? Comment below if you'd like to see a video on decorations versus design and my thoughts on free services. The space we're going to use to work on this project is my daughter's bedroom. I am dedicating a specific area for her homeschooling because back to school is next month and she's going to be doing full remote learning, and I want to make sure that she has a space that she understands is dedicated just for her education. Ideally, I would encourage clients to create a space that's outside of the bedroom, but remember I said I live in New York, right? Okay. So she's going to be doing this in her bedroom. But there are certain ways to delineate that space. You can delineate the space by putting a specific rug in there to separate that area. You can delineate it by painting that particular area a different color or a different shade, or using a stripe or something along those lines so that it's separated from the other portions. You can also change the motif of the room. Maybe you have a color palette going on in other areas of the room and you choose a certain shade or a certain hue for this specific space and area. I always tell people to use really bright, really happy colors when you're dealing with children's spaces. You want to make sure that you're encouraging as much creativity as possible, so yellow and orange is what you want to go for. So you'll notice that I've incorporating that. I'm using an analogous color scheme in her room. Analogous means that it's 3 colors or multiple colors that are all lined up together on a color wheel, and you'll get to see what that looks like. I've chosen pink, orange, and yellow in order to incorporate what's going on in the rest of her room, as well as figure out the best way to make the colors jive together for her desk. she is going to have all of the basics in the room. When you're putting together a room, you want to figure out exactly what you need. For an office space, they're going to need some sort of desk for them to write on. They're going to need a chair for them to sit in. Now, full disclosure, I would recommend that you get them a chair that has a back on it. In this case, I went with a play desk, and I did it for a couple of reasons. I'm usually not a set person. I'm not into the matchy-matchy, but this worked in this particular instance. It came with a table and 2 little stools. So when her friend is over, there's a second stool there that she can use as well in order to color and paint and do other crafts. My daughter is 3 years old, and so she does not spend an 8-hour day at her desk. And so a desk with a chair that has a high back or a wing back, like I have a high back on my office desk because I spend a lot more time sitting here working, is really necessary for the ergonomic support. For her, she's only doing it for small blips of time in between other things and other activities. So it's totally okay that she has a stool for now, although I have my eye on a chair back. So I can tell you from a range of prices, if you're going to go into the market for a desk for a child, you're looking at anywhere from $50 for a decent quality desk to $500 for a best quality desk for your child. Now, of course, all of this varies by age and what you want to achieve out of it, but I'm just going to give you some brief examples. Same thing with the chair. You can do a good chair, a folding chair that comes out at $15-20, or you can do a stool. Those can come out to about $100, or you could do a chair with a back, and then you're looking at something closer to the $200 range, in my opinion, for the quality that I would encourage you to look at for your child. We're going to source a desk, we're going to source a chair, we're going to source a rug to separate the space, and this is going to be layered onto another rug that's already in her room. We're going to figure out what we're going to do backdrop wise. So ideally, I would like to get this pegboard from IKEA, and with that pegboard, I'd like her to have access to all of the supplies that she needs, like her colored pencils and her crayons and her little safety scissors that she uses and her little ruler, which I'm adamant about her learning how to use, but I'm biased. And then I want her to be able to clip some of her artwork and things like that to that pegboard, because I'm of the belief that I really just don't like things on my refrigerator. So I kind of keep a space for all of that over there for her. And anything else that she wants to put on her pegboard that makes her feel good. So if she wants to do stickers and what have you, I want to give her that space to be creative in that way. I went to IKEA, and I don't know if you've been to IKEA lately, but the line was ridiculous, and I couldn't. So I left, which means I didn't get the pegboard in time for the video. However, in using what I have, I did grab my dry erase board that I haven't put up yet in this new space. We've been in this space for about a month now, and because I haven't used it in that time, I decided to put it in her room for the time being. Dry erase is perfect. I would always encourage you to use either some sort of dry erase board, a dry erase peel and stick wallpaper, or maybe even a chalkboard. On the topic of saving and splurging, in your child's space, you'll probably move around artwork and designs pretty frequently, and so don't think that you always have to frame everything in their space. A great solution is washi tape. Washi tape can be purchased just about any local craft store. I got these varieties over at Michael's. It was $5.99 for both of these rolls. And I went with dots because I have an obsession with dots. She has an umlaut in her name. We'll talk about that later. But you can save some money in your child's space by illustrating artwork with washi tape instead of actually framing it. If you get washi tape that doesn't happen to be strong enough, another option is for you to just secondarily support it with some command stickers. And that's what I did in this case, because this little poster was rolled up so much that it just keeps fighting against the wind. But I win. Command stickers, washi tape, cost savings. And this is where we netted out on the actual totals for this particular project. When planning your project, don't forget any of the other fees that come into the budget. This is why we double that number. The next video coming up is going to be talking about my entryway. Finally, we're going to get into measuring the space. So after we've done our budget, now what do? Well, before we can go out and start shopping, just because we know how much money we're going to spend doesn't mean we should just go buy everything. We need to measure and make sure that we have scale, proportion, balance down pat, and then also the mood. There's a lot that goes into design, but I'll walk you through it in my entryway next week. I'm so thankful that you spent this time with me. You could have been anywhere on YouTube, but you chose to be with me, and I appreciate that. I'm super thankful for you, and we'll chat soon. Bye.
Look at mine. books and tables.
You like it?
Uh-huh.